I always believed my wife loved me. We weren't perfect. No one is. But I thought we were solid. Until the day I got pulled over on my way to work, and the officer asked me to step out of the car. I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a broken taillight. Maybe a random check. Then they opened my trunk, and that's when I saw it. A small black duffel bag, full of drugs. I'd never seen it before. Never touched anything like that in my life. I was handcuffed on the spot. No explanation. No chance to speak. And the worst part? Someone had called them. Someone said I was dangerous. Someone who knew exactly when and where I'd be pulled over. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't bad luck. It was my wife.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel When Love Betrays.
My name is Daniel. I'm 42, a project manager, father of 2, and up until last year, I thought I was living the kind of life most people would envy. Married to my high school sweetheart, Claire. Suburban home. 2 kids. 1 golden retriever. Weekends at soccer games. Family dinners. A normal life. Or so I thought. It started on a Wednesday. I was on my way to work, listening to the same damn sports radio I always do, sipping black coffee from a cracked travel mug Claire gave me on our 10th anniversary. Just another morning. Until flashing lights filled my rearview mirror. I wasn't speeding. I wasn't texting. Nothing was out of the ordinary, until 2 squad cars boxed me in. I pulled over, confused. My first thought was, wrong guy? But the officers approached my car like I was armed and dangerous. Guns holstered, hands on their belts, serious faces. One of them tapped the window. "Step out of the vehicle, sir." I asked, "What's going on?" He just repeated himself. "Step out. Hands visible." I did as I was told. I wasn't scared, not yet, just confused. The second officer opened my car door and started looking around without even asking. Then they popped the trunk, and my stomach dropped. Because inside, right there, next to the emergency kit and our daughter's pink soccer cleats, was a black duffel bag I'd never seen before. The first officer unzipped it. Plastic bags. Vacuum sealed. White powder. A lot of it. He looked at me like he already knew the ending of the story. "What is this?" he asked. I stammered. I've never seen that in my life. That's not mine." He read me my rights. In the span of 5 minutes, I went from a guy heading to work to a suspected drug trafficker in handcuffs on the side of the highway. And as I sat in the back of the police car, watching them search every inch of my vehicle, only one thought kept echoing in my head. Claire. Call Claire. She'll know what to do. But when I called her, she didn't pick up. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. Again. Nothing. And that's when it hit me. That sinking, ugly, hollow feeling that maybe something was very, very wrong. My wife always answers. Always. Unless she doesn't want to. That night I spent 14 hours in holding. They said I'd be charged formally the next day. Possession. Intent to distribute. Felony charges. It was surreal. I asked for a lawyer. They said one would be appointed in the morning. At 3 a.m. I finally got a call back from Claire. Her voice was cold. "Mechanical. I heard what happened," she said. "You did?" I asked, my voice cracking. "Claire, someone planted that in my car. This is insane. I need you to—" She cut me off. "I told the officer about your habits." "I'm sorry, Daniel. I had to protect the kids." "What are you talking about?" I said, completely stunned. "I don't do drugs. You know that." She didn't answer. She just said, "I'll speak to my attorney in the morning," and hung up. I sat there in the cold, concrete silence. The pieces finally starting to click together. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't random. It wasn't a mistake. It was a setup. And the person who did it was my wife. After that call with Claire, something inside me broke. I wasn't angry yet. I was still in shock, still waiting for the part where someone said, "This was a mistake. You're free to go." But that part never came. They released me the next afternoon on bail. I walked out of that police station with my clothes wrinkled, my reputation in ruins, and my entire world spinning. Outside, my friend Tom was waiting for me. He was the only one who answered when I called. He didn't say anything at first, just hugged me and handed me a bottle of water. Then we got in his car, and I finally asked the question that had been burning in me since last night. "Did Claire call the cops?" Tom hesitated. He looked at the road, then at me and said, "She's been talking to a lawyer for weeks. Said she was gathering things for custody." I thought she meant finances. I stared at him. "Custody?" He nodded, and that's when I knew. This wasn't just about drugs. This wasn't even about me. This was about winning the divorce before I even knew we were getting one. When I got back to the house, Claire had already changed the locks. A note was taped to the door. "Please direct any communication through legal counsel. For the safety of myself and the children, you are not permitted on the property. Claire." There it was. Black and white. No, let's talk. No explanation, no mercy. She wanted me gone. Not just physically. Legally, permanently. I went back to Tom's place that night and barely spoke. Just stared at the ceiling, piecing it all together. Claire hadn't shown any signs of leaving. No big fights, no screaming, no separation talk. But now it all made sense. The secrecy, the new password on her phone, the sudden late-night errands. She was building a case, and I was the villain in her story. The next morning, I met my lawyer, Rachel Kane. Sharp, aggressive, no nonsense. She listened, took notes, asked hard questions. Then she leaned back in her chair and said, "This isn't about drugs. This is about positioning. If she can paint you as unstable or dangerous, she gets full custody, alimony, maybe even the house." I said, "But it's all fake. I've never touched that stuff. Someone had to put it in my trunk." She nodded. "I believe you, but the court won't. Not without evidence. So we find it." And that's when something clicked in my head. The garage camera. We had a ring cam above the driveway. I set it up myself a year ago after some neighbor's car got keyed, and it was linked to my account, not hers. I logged in immediately. But when I opened the history, the last 3 weeks were gone. Deleted. Every single clip. I called Rachel. She said, "She must have known it could show something. That means it's important. Find anything else she missed." Tom and I spent the next 2 days looking everywhere for clues. And then, on a whim, I opened my car's GPS history. Most people don't know their vehicle's infotainment system stores more than just music preferences. Mine had a log of recent destinations, and one address stood out. An alleyway in an industrial park, 2 nights before I got arrested. I wasn't there. Ever. But Claire used my car sometimes, especially when hers was in the shop. So I went there. Middle of the day. Hot, dusty. And there it was, a low-end self-storage facility. No cameras on the lot. Just numbered garage doors and an old guy smoking behind the office window. I asked if anyone matching Claire's description had been by lately. He said no. But when I mentioned the date, he looked again. He said, "Yeah, blonde woman. Expensive SUV signed in, under the name Susan Klein." Susan Klein. Claire's mother's maiden name. I took a photo of the sign-in sheet and sent it straight to Rachel. She called me back instantly. "Keep digging," she said. "If we can prove she accessed that unit before you got arrested, we've got her." That night, as I sat in Tom's kitchen with a beer I couldn't finish, the anger finally came. It hit me like a freight train. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was war. And the woman I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with had declared it. I didn't sleep much that night. Not because of the fear. That had burned itself out. What kept me awake was something colder, more focused. I needed proof, not just suspicion, not just theory. Claire was too smart for slip-ups, but she had one weakness: control. She had to control the story, the timeline, the outcome. And in doing so, she left breadcrumbs. The first one was that storage unit. I had the sign-in log with her alias, Susan Klein. The manager wouldn't show me camera footage. Said only law enforcement could access it. But I pressed. Offered to pay for accidental footage from the parking lot. He hesitated, and finally slid me a thumb drive under the counter. Timestamp: 2 days before my arrest. A black SUV pulls up. Claire steps out, carrying a black duffel bag. My black duffel bag. I nearly dropped the drive. I rushed to Rachel's office. She watched the footage twice. No blinking, no questions. Then she leaned forward. Now we're talking. Within 2 days, she filed a motion to introduce new, exonerating evidence and submitted the footage to the DA. But the criminal side wasn't what worried me most anymore. Claire didn't just want to get me arrested. She wanted to erase me from my children's lives, from our house, from our finances, from every memory that mattered. She wanted to win. The next blow came through a manila envelope left at Tom's door. Inside, a formal custody petition. Filed the day before I was arrested. Let that sink in. She filed for emergency full custody, before the cops even found the drugs. She knew they would, because she put them there. Rachel was livid. "This is weaponized divorce," she said, "and we're going to flip it." But we still needed a smoking gun. I remembered something. A month ago, Claire borrowed my car because hers was in the shop. She kept saying the engine light was on, that it was acting funny. I never thought to ask more. But now, I wanted details. So I called the repair shop. "Hi, this is Daniel Rivers. My wife brought in her car, a white Lexus RX, around 3 weeks ago. I just need the service dates." The guy on the phone checked. "Sir, that vehicle was never brought here." I hung up and sat in silence. She didn't borrow my car because hers needed repairs. She borrowed it to use it to plant the drugs. Then Rachel called. "There's more," she said. Apparently, the duffel bag matched one Claire had reported stolen from our garage 2 months earlier. She told the insurance company it was missing after a supposed break-in, one that, conveniently, we never filed a police report for. It was all part of her narrative. "He's been unstable. I think he's hiding things. I'm scared for me and the kids." She was painting me as a ticking time bomb. But the more she tried to control the story, the more cracks began to show. Rachel got a subpoena for Claire's call history. On the morning of my arrest, just 23 minutes before the traffic stop, Claire made a 3-minute call to the non-emergency police tip line. She didn't call after the arrest. She called before. That was the tipping point. Rachel smiled when she saw the report. "We've got motive, timeline, and proof of manipulation," she said. "This is no longer about you defending yourself. This is about her going down." But me, I was still processing what that meant. That the woman I built a life with, the mother of my children, had tried to destroy me for advantage, not for safety, not out of fear, but out of cold, calculated strategy. I wasn't scared anymore. I was done being quiet, done playing defense. It was time to push back, and the first strike It was going to happen on her birthday. I circled the date on my calendar, not because I wanted to remember it, but because I wanted her to. Claire's birthday. The same day I had proposed to her, 11 years ago. The same day, she always insisted be quiet. No big parties, just family dinner cake. This year, she was planning a small dinner at her sister's house. What she didn't know, I'd be sending a gift. But before that, I had one more thing to lock in, something bulletproof. We needed to show Claire's full manipulation. The drugs planted in my trunk, the fake storage unit under her alias, the deleted camera footage, the pre-timed police call. But there was still one weak spot. Motive. Why would she go to such lengths? That's when Rachel said something that changed everything. What if she wasn't just trying to win the divorce? What if she was hiding something else too? I couldn't think of anything. No affair. No secret addiction. She was clean, controlled, disciplined to a fault. But when Rachel subpoenaed her bank records, it blew the door wide open. Multiple large transfers, nearly $50,000, spread across 5 months. All to an unregistered account under the name K. Albright. I didn't know anyone named Albright. But Rachel did some digging. And it turns out K. Albright was a private investigator. Claire hired him 5 months ago, the same month she told me she was reconnecting with herself. We got access to the PI's business registry. Rachel sent a formal request for disclosure. And just like that, everything unraveled. Claire had been building a profile on me, watching who I texted, tracking my whereabouts, following my coworkers, compiling a file that made me look paranoid, unstable, angry. She wasn't trying to find dirt. She was creating it. That was it. I had what I needed. The footage, the call logs, the financial trail, the motive. Now it was time to burn the mask she wore in front of everyone. On the day of her birthday dinner, I sent a delivery to her sister's house. Not flowers, not jewelry, not even divorce papers, but a neatly packaged gift box, white with a gold bow, just like she always loved. Inside, a printed copy of the police tip line call log, still shots from the storage unit footage, a copy of the subpoenaed PI payments, a flash drive with everything, video, documents, GPS history, time logs, and a short handwritten note. Since you love telling stories, here's one with all the characters and none of the lies. I didn't attend the dinner, but I didn't have to, because 17 minutes after she opened the gift, her sister called me. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just said, "Daniel, what is this?" I told her the truth. Everything. Her voice shook. "She said you were violent. She said you were using. She said you threatened the kids." I replied, "Ask her about the storage unit. Ask her about the fake insurance claim. Ask her why she deleted our home camera footage the week before I got arrested." Silence. Then, "I'm so sorry." Within the hour, Claire's sister sent me a message. A photo of Claire, storming out of the house, her face red, her hands shaking. No cake, no gifts, no family support, just truth, laid bare. And the fallout was only beginning. The next day, Rachel filed a motion to dismiss all charges against me, with the new evidence. She also filed a request to reopen custody negotiations on the grounds of parental alienation and malicious legal abuse. Claire didn't respond for days. Then one night, I got a single text from her. "Why are you doing this?" "I just wanted to protect the kids." No apology, no confession, just a lie, wrapped in self-pity. I didn't reply, because by then I had learned something important. Claire didn't destroy me because she was afraid of me. She tried to destroy me, because she knew I was the only one who truly saw her, and that terrified her more than any courtroom ever could. 2 weeks later, I stepped into the courthouse, with a folder in one hand, and fire in my chest. Not rage, not anymore, but clarity. For the first time in months, I wasn't the man being accused. I was the man pulling the curtain back. My lawyer, Rachel,
had spent every waking hour preparing. We weren't just fighting for my name. We were fighting to show the court who Claire really was. Not the polished PTA mom with well-rehearsed tears, but the woman who tried to frame her own husband to win. The prosecution opened with their charges: possession, intent to distribute. Anonymous tip, they said, matched the evidence in the trunk. But when Rachel stood up, she didn't flinch. She calmly handed the judge a flash drive and said, "We have reason to believe this anonymous tip came from the defendant's own wife, who placed the narcotics in his vehicle days earlier, deleted home surveillance footage that would have proven his innocence, and filed for emergency custody less than 24 hours before his arrest." You could feel the air change in the room. She played the ring cam footage first. Claire, walking out of the garage with a duffel bag, the same bag the police found. Then the storage unit footage. Same bag, same woman, same day. The prosecution tried to object. "Context is unclear," they said. Rachel smiled. "We agree, which is why we also subpoenaed financial records." She passed out printed statements, highlighting each transfer to the private investigator. Then came the call log, a clear record showing that Claire had contacted the non-emergency tip line minutes before my arrest. Rachel's voice never rose. She didn't need to shout. The facts did the damage. Claire sat across the room. No tears, no expression, just silence and shame. She didn't deny it. She didn't have to. The judge was already reading between the lines. Within an hour, the entire drug case was dismissed. Lack of evidence. Contaminated chain of custody. Probable malicious intent. I was free. On paper.
But Rachel wasn't done. She moved straight into family court proceedings, presented the exact same evidence, plus new statements from Claire's sister, confirming that she confessed to manipulating the situation to protect her assets. That was her phrasing. Protect her assets. Claire's lawyer looked like they wanted to melt into the floor. And the judge, he adjusted his glasses, looked at Claire, and said, "This isn't just a custody dispute. This is a premeditated attempt to weaponize the legal system. And that, Mrs. Rivers, is something this court does not take lightly." He ruled for joint custody, but with primary residence assigned to me. Claire was granted visitation, supervised, for the first 3 months. The judge also ordered a psychological evaluation before any unsupervised parenting time. And just like that, she lost the one thing she thought she had control over: the narrative. After the hearing, Claire didn't even look at me. She just gathered her things like someone packing up after a funeral. Her empire of control, gone. No applause. No outburst. Just the quiet collapse of someone who finally ran out of lies. I walked out of that courtroom with my head high. Not because I won, but because I survived. Because I still had my kids, my name, and the truth. And deep down, I think Claire always knew this day would come. She just thought she'd be the one holding the final piece. Instead, it was me. And I wasn't letting it go. After the court ruling, I thought it was over. I thought she'd finally stop. She lost the case. She lost custody. She lost the lie. But I underestimated something. Claire didn't know how to lose. The first 2 weeks were quiet. Too quiet. The kids settled into my place, our place. And for the first time in months, life felt normal. I cooked dinner. We watched movies. They asked questions, but I kept the answers gentle. "I love you," I'd say. "I'm always here. That's what matters. But in the background, Claire was still moving. It started with the calls. Blocked number. Late at night. Breathing on the other end. No voice. Then the text messages. From random prepaid numbers. Enjoy your little victory. They'll see you for who you are. You think this is over? Rachel confirmed they weren't legally threatening, but they were emotionally dangerous. She said, "Keep everyone. We may need them." Then she showed up. Not at the house, at my office, middle of the day, hair perfect, makeup sharp, smile fake. She waited in the lobby until I came out. "Daniel," she said, "can we talk?" I stared at her. I wasn't afraid. I was just tired. What could you possibly have to say? She tilted her head, like she was still performing. "I just think we lost sight of what matters. We don't have to keep hurting each other." Hurting each other? She tried to have me arrested. She lied to the police. She nearly took my children away. Now she wanted to talk. I told her no, firmly, quietly, in front of 3 coworkers who saw the entire thing. She smiled through clenched teeth and left, but I knew that wasn't the end. 3 days later, I got an email from Child Protective Services. Someone had filed a complaint, anonymous of course, alleging that my home was emotionally unsafe and that I exhibited erratic behavior. I forwarded it to Rachel. She sighed. She's still trying to build a new case, even after everything. But this time she has no leverage. CPS investigated. They visited. They interviewed the kids. Checked the house and found nothing. But it shook me, because now I saw the truth. Claire didn't care about custody. She didn't care about justice. She cared about control, and she'd rather scorch the earth than admit defeat. So I did something I never wanted to do. I filed for a restraining order. Not just for me, but for the kids. We had enough proof now. The anonymous messages, the false CPS complaint, the office confrontation, her documented history of malicious legal behavior. Rachel filed the motion. The court granted it. And when Claire received the notification, she snapped. She sent one final message. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't an apology. It was a video, a selfie video recorded in her car. In it, she was crying. Smudged makeup, angry hands gripping the wheel. She said, "You made me into this. You always looked at me like I was broken, like I was some project to fix. Well, guess what, Daniel? I'm done being your wife, your mistake, your punching bag. I'll walk away. But one day, they'll see who you really are." She ended it with a laugh. Cold, detached. The kind of laugh you can't fake. I saved it. Didn't respond. Didn't share it. Just filed it away with the rest of the story. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about ending it. Completely. Claire moved to a different city 2 weeks later. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't ask for the kids. Just vanished. Part of me was relieved. Another part? Still angry. Not because of what she did, but because of what she was willing to destroy just to avoid losing. But that anger didn't stay. Eventually, it faded into something else. Peace. Not the loud, triumphant kind. The quiet kind. The kind where you breathe again. The kind where your kids laugh again. The kind you fight for and earn. It's been almost a year now. A year since the traffic stop. A year since the cuffs. A year since I sat alone in a concrete holding cell, wondering how my life had collapsed in a single morning. Back then, I thought I'd never recover. But here's what no one tells you. Surviving betrayal doesn't make you bitter. It makes you awake. My name is clear. The charges are gone. My job, still mine. The kids?
They laugh again. They sleep soundly. They don't ask about their mom as often as I thought they would. And I don't push. I answer when they do. Gently. Honestly. Without poison. She made some bad choices, I tell them. But I hope one day she becomes someone better. Claire hasn't reached out since she moved. Not once. She didn't send a birthday card. Didn't ask about school. Didn't even check if our youngest had her tonsils removed like we'd planned. She became a ghost. And while it still stings, it's also a relief. Because I no longer live under the weight of maybe. I don't check the cameras anymore. I don't flinch at block numbers. I stopped expecting the other shoe to drop. Turns out, when you finally walk away from someone toxic, there's no sound louder than silence, and silence can be beautiful. A few weeks ago, I did something I never thought I would. I deleted the last video she sent me. The one with the crying, the threats, the guilt. I sat with my finger hovering over the delete icon for a solid minute. Then I pressed it. Not because I was trying to forget, but because I was ready to stop remembering. Last weekend we had a little barbecue. Just me, the kids, a few neighbors, and my sister, who drove in from out of town. I was flipping burgers when my daughter ran up behind me and said, "Daddy, are we going to be okay forever now?" I didn't know what she meant, so I asked, "What do you mean, sweetie?" She shrugged, thoughtful, in that way only kids can be. "You smile more now. I just want to stay like this. No more scary stuff. Just you." I looked at her big, honest eyes, at the life we still had, still building, brick by brick. And I knelt down and said, "We're okay now, and we'll stay okay. I promise." That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on the porch alone. Just me and the quiet. And for the first time in a long, long time, I didn't feel like a victim. I didn't feel like a man recovering from disaster. I just felt like me, alive, whole, standing. I lost a lot. Time, trust, years of memories poisoned by betrayal. But I gained something else. Peace, strength, clarity. And no matter what happens next, I know I'll face it on my feet, because she tried to destroy me. But all she did was set me free.